Alright, so today I will be teaching you, or not teaching you, guiding you, or make you understand how human being actually wired. Well, not wired, but still, it's pretty interesting. I'm still learning about human myself, about how the human mind works, or why people do certain things and why not. Still, it's not that easy, right? Because when it comes to human being is more complex than animals, right? Of course, they're more aware, but we have more evolved brains, right? So today, classical book. If you have not read this book, I highly recommend. But if you're in personal development, you probably read this already, right? How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Now, when I first picked up this book, I was amazed how interesting how this book actually works. Because, well, over the years I have understand more about human beings and about psychology and about how perception work a little bit. I'm not an expert on it, but I do understand. I try my best to explain it, if you will. And if you have any difficulty of understanding it, you can leave a comment below and I can try to fix it. So, great book. So let's deal with this, right? So in order to understand how to, well, this basically make people try to like you. In order to make people try to like you, what you have to do is you got to be generally interested in them. You know, over the years I got a combination of not just that books, but I get pieces here and there from Bob Proctor, where he said take focus off yourself and focus on the other person and make them feel important, because they are important. And remember the person name, and when you try to conversate with them, use the person name out loud. And here's the reason why. If you're like me, if you don't like your name, I don't know how that works. But if you change your name, then okay. Do you like the sound of your own name? That's what I'm interested in asking you. Type in below do you like the sound of your own name if I say your name, your first name? Do you like it? Do you have an affinity towards it? Do you gravitate towards it? Do you, when someone, let's say an email popped up and it say your name, do you open it up? That's what most email marketers do. They type your name in and they, not an expert on this, just how I see it, because every time my name clicked and I clicked on it, that's how they use it, right? And also, if I hear Johnny, I liked it because it's my name, right? Be a good listener, but not just be a good listener, be an engaged listener. Sometimes it's when you are, for me, the only way for me to be able to listen to the other person is when I'm not tired. Because when I'm tired, I couldn't, like, all I'm thinking about is, dang, I'm so tired, I wish I could sleep. So it's better to sleep and not get tired, right? So when you let's say a person is sitting there, and you're sitting there, what you must do in the Power of Charm, the Brian Tracy book that I highly recommend you get. I got it in my couple of videos. You should check it out. I have two. I have two video of it. I'm gonna put the link below, and you can watch that. But what he says is, let's say a person's talking to you. You gotta point. You gotta. What was it? What he said? You gotta move your body toward the person and point the feet forward and point as if you're interested in them, and that they know that you're listening. But here's the thing. You have to. Where is it? Relate to them. Because if you can't find a topic to relate, for instance, let's say they use a certain topic, try to pinpoint that topic in and get them to talk about that topic or a certain word that they like. If they like a certain word, use that word. You're trying to, because if you understand how understand how the unconscious or the subconscious work. You see, it's about body language too. It's about 80% is non-verbal and 10% is verbal, because we human can unconsciously we actually read cue of the body language by 80%, right? That's why you probably hear of Tony Robbins called mirroring matching. Some people do it naturally, where, let's say, for instance, I used to do it with my friend. He pick up a cup of glass and he start to drink. So I feel uncomfortable, but I do it because I want to be like him. Well, I used to do that, but not anymore. And then I start to drink. That's mirroring matching. It's sending a signal to your subconscious mind that you're the same, that he's just like me. What you're trying to do is you're trying to get them to basically see you, you're trying to get them to see you as they see themselves, right? Be interested instead of interesting. Don't be because what they say is people like to talk about themselves. Now, this video is making you aware, since you're in personal development, this video is making you aware of, if people don't understand these principles, they aren't aware. I thought sometime I learned all these principles, I thought most people would understand these things that people, when you're not, of course I use them, but I don't tell them that I use them. But it usually work most of the time. I usually don't talk about myself. Okay, when it comes to family, I do talk about myself, and when it comes to friends, that's fine. But usually, sometimes they want me to focus more on them. Like, for instance, my friend, he wanted me to focus more on, but also don't interrupt. People don't like people who interrupt. They want to. I realize when you actually let people flow and talk for a long time, you actually, even though you don't want to, how would they say it? Like, you don't want to get bored, right? But usually, you don't want to interrupt them, right? So, I just want to let you understand how the subconscious mind work a little bit, because it kind of associate with how. Have you ever found a topic that you guys liked, and then you become like friends out of that? Well, it's almost like buying, because we don't buy on logic, we buy on emotion, right? If you go back, why you like the food that you like, why you like certain things that you like, you probably developed when you were kids. But the problem is, let's say the food that I like, which is Vietnamese food, if I like these Vietnamese food, did I have a choice in it? No, not really. And you're like, what? Are you crazy? Yeah, you have a choice. No, not entirely. I become to like them is because I get to know them. Because I get to taste them in my childhood years. So that means that it's in my subconscious mind. If I go to another country, which is the food is strange, I wouldn't actually eat that. It's because it's unfamiliar with me. But if I eat like pizza, or what we know with pizza or McDonald's or hamburger, and we trust them because they became a brand. We become familiar with them. So when we become familiar with them, it becomes a fixed idea into the subconscious. Therefore, we buy the thing that we buy. For instance, let's say, why do I like egg rolls? Because when I was a kid, my mom used to make egg rolls, right? So I I like it. Yeah. So we don't buy on logic, we buy on emotion. Basically, it's on the subconscious level, because your subconscious is emotion. It's an emotional brain. So these two errors is okay. So let's talk about these two errors. They're called cognitive bias. Now, when it comes to getting to know a person, you also want to understand reciprocity, because let's say you don't know them very well. You gotta, if they do something for you, you gotta do something for them. Reciprocity. Well, they use this in selling. Well, that's what Brian Tracy do. Social proof is where you see a whole lot of bunch of people buying it, so therefore you buy it. It's kind of the, I don't know if it would call it a herd mentality, but it's where, for instance, an iPhone, right? You see, for me, I don't. Social proof is kind of like what is popular, right? What it's well, you could say it's trending, but social proof is what everybody else does. You think it's you in your brain you'd be like, oh, so I must do the same because that's what everybody does. It's safe. It's not unknown. It's just like, for instance, some people who take out student loan debt is because they follow everybody else, because they think that it's the right thing to do. Usually, sometimes people think it's the right thing to do, but it's not most of the time. It's not the right thing to do because it's a herd. It's a herd mentality, and you're conformed to. It's a rule in the human mind, and it's an era of human. But you can use it on people. I don't always use it on them, but I do use it on people. Not always. Social proof. Like, for instance, a lot of people. Oh, testimonial. Yeah, there you go. Testimonial. If you have a whole lot of testimonial, right? Then you know that that person, their products or service is good or whatever, and you start to buy because it's you didn't went first, and it wasn't, how you say it. It wasn't. I'm trying to get the word. You feel safe because everybody tests it, and they say out their mouth, and you have people saying that. So, but it's not just that, but it's also understanding about psychology. Now, over the years, there's positive movement called positive psychology. Well, they have where people study the mental illness, right? Here, I got this book, though it's a method of persuasion. It's pretty interesting when I read it. Mode overview. Reality is objective, but our perception of reality is subjective. What the heck does that mean? Even though there's only one reality surrounding us, people perceive and interpret their reality differently. Essentially, our perception is a lens through which we interpret reality. If you know how to alter that lens, you can change how people view and interpret reality. Okay, so how can we understand this? Well, if we said there's one reality, but matter of fact there's a whole bunch of realities. It's people perception, right? People say perception is reality. When it comes to that, what is truly reality? It's how people perceive it to be. Whatever your idea and belief are, that's how you see the world. You don't see the world as it is, you see the world as you are. When you understand this, when you understand psychology, the psychology is about understanding and studying the behavior of you and people. Now, when it comes to understanding perception, how do you change perception? How do you change the way you see and interpret things? Well, it has to do with the ideas and the subconscious program. When you reprogram your mind, let's say you start to do personal development, you start to input new information, you start to change your belief system and kick out the old. What happened? You start to change your perception about the world that you live in. And when you start to change the world around you, you start to see different things. You start to change who you are. When you start to change who you are, you start to interact with people differently than you used to be. What you must understand is that when you go toward the person, what you're trying to do is implant an image of who, an image of yourself in their mind. And when you plant an image in their mind, what happens is because if you think about it, the whole human experience is based on interpreting experiences, right? When people go to experience, they tell themselves a story, whether good or bad. It could be good, but they tell a bad thing. It could be bad, it could be good. It's how we say it, it's how we frame it to be, right? And it's a good idea to understand perception, because perception is really, we think that it's reality, but it's more than just reality. It's more, you see, you don't, I think I said this in my video. When you see with your eyes, with your physical eye, what you see is the physical object, but it's not how you interpret reality. You interpret your reality by your brain, and you change what the meaning and the context toward, right? And how can you go toward understanding to change your life? To change your life, you must change your perception. To change your perception, you must change your ideas and belief. Your ideas and belief are in turn a lens which you see the world with. Anyway, that's too much. Gotta let people talk. And you got. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you, and subscribe, like my channel, and see. Yeah.